Hello, good morning, all the dignitaries. Myself, Shabir Ahmad Malik, research scholar, Department of Teacher Training and Non-Formal Education, IASC, Faculty of Education, Jamia Millia Islamia University, New Delhi. Today, I am going to present a topic, a comparative study of psychological hardiness among tribal and non-tribal secondary school students. Before going to any topic, we should understand introduction part. As you know, in the world, India has the largest population of tribal people. 8.61% of the total population of the country constitute tribals, numbering 14.93 million as per 2011 census and cover about 15% of the country's total area. Jammu and Kashmir is having 12 tribal communities such as Balti, Bida, Boto, Bropa, Dropa, Dod, Shin, Changpa, Gara, Mon, Purikpa, Gojar, Bakarwal, Gaddi, and Sipi. The scheduled tribes account for 11.9% of the total population, 14.9 lakh of the state as per 2011 census of India and 1.3% of the total tribal population of the country. The STs are predominantly rural as 95.3% of them reside in villages and habitations. Out of 12 scheduled tribes, Gojar is the most popular tribe with a total population of 7,63,806, thus forming 69.1% of the total scheduled tribe population. Gojar, along with the three tribes, constitute 88% of the total tribal population. Psychological hardiness. Psychological hardiness is a new concept in psychology, focuses on the personal characteristics that enable the individual to effectively cope with stress. It is the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or even significant sources of stress such as family and relationship problems, serious health problems, or workplace problems, and financial stressors. It is a tendency that allows an individual to accept the challenges and changes in life with good humor and resilience, which in turn influences behavior that prevents illness. It is the resistance we have to stress, anxiety, and depression. Research has shown that holiness is the key to the resilience for not only surviving but also thriving under stress. Holiness enhances performance, leadership, conduct, stamina, mood, and both physical and mental health. It is the ability by which one can stand with grief and accept the loss of one's loved ones, which is crucial for survival. It is considered as a measure of one's tendency to make relationship to oneself and one's outside world. It is not a mere rigidness or stress endurance, but a power to cultivate one's way under difficult conditions and go through stressful events successfully. It does not mean irresponsibleness, but an ability to realize situations around oneself and ability to take self decision. In the earlier research, it was usually defined as a personality structure comprising three related general dispositions of commitment, control, and challenge that functions as a resource that helps an individual to tackle a stressful situation. Commitment. The commitment disposition refers to the tendency of an individual to involve themselves fully and dedicatedly in the activities of life. In other words, I can say that believing in the importance of what one is doing, being committed to finding meaningful purpose in life. Control. The control disposition refers to the tendency of an individual to where there is a belief that they can influence the situation, especially stressful, by putting in their own efforts. believing that one has some power to influence the immediate situation. In other words, I can say that the belief that one can influence one's surroundings at the outcome of events. Challenge. Challenge disposition is defined as the belief that changes in life or opportunities for personal growth and development. In other words, I can say that viewing life as changes as positive opportunities rather than as threats. The belief that one can learn and grow from both positive and negative life experiences. Literature review. Singh Remender 2016 indicated that stress was negatively correlated with psychological hardiness. Ahmadi and Jihajari 2013 indicated that male and female students differ significantly on psychological hardiness and mental health. Akram and Khan 2017 reported that low hardy and high hardy adolescents differ significantly on achievement motivation. Objectives. The present study was undertaken with the following objectives: to study psychological hardiness of tribal and non-tribal secondary school students, to compare psychological hardiness of tribal and non-tribal secondary school students, to compare psychological hardiness of male tribal and male non-tribal secondary school students, to compare psychological hardiness of female tribal and female non-tribal secondary school students. Hypothesis. There is no significant difference between tribal and non-tribal secondary school students with regard to psychological hardiness. There is no significant difference between male tribal and male non-tribal secondary school students with regard to psychological hardiness. There is no significant difference between female tribal and female non-tribal secondary school students. Methodology. The descriptive and survey type method was employed as a present state is descriptive in nature. Sample. The population of the present state was tribal and non-tribal secondary school students of Kashmir Valley through purposive sampling technique. 600 secondary school students, out of which 300 students were selected from tribal community and an equal number or selected from non-tribals. The sample was divided on the basis of gender. Psychological hardiness scale developed by the investigator himself was used to measure psychological hardiness among tribal and non-tribal secondary school students. The scale comprised of 45 items and it measures three dimensions: commitment, control, and challenge. The responses are scored on a 5-point scale. For the statistical treatment, mean, standard deviation, and t-test was applied. Findings and conclusion. On the basis of analysis and interpretations, the following findings have been drawn out. A significant difference was found between mean scores of tribal and non-tribal secondary school students on the variable of psychological hardiness, as the mean score of non-tribal secondary school students was found to be higher than tribal secondary school students. It can be concluded that non-tribal secondary school students are psychologically hardy than the tribal secondary school students. A significant difference was found between mean scores of tribal and non-tribal secondary school students on the dimensions of psychological hardiness. A significant difference was found between mean scores of tribal male, non-tribal male secondary school students on the variable of psychological hardiness, as a mean score of non-tribal male secondary school students was found to be higher than the tribal male secondary school students. It can be concluded that non-tribal male secondary school students are psychologically hardy than the tribal male secondary school students. A significant difference was found between mean scores of tribal male and non-tribal male secondary school students on the dimensions of psychological hardiness. No significant difference was found between mean scores of tribal female and non-tribal female secondary school students on the variable of psychological hardiness. No significant difference was found between mean scores of tribal female and non-tribal female secondary school students on the dimensions of psychological hardiness. Educational implications. The results of the present study revealed that significant differences in the psychological hardiness among the tribal and non-tribal secondary school students. The study further indicated that non-tribal secondary school students are found to be psychologically hardy than the tribal secondary school students. The reason may be that non-tribal secondary school students are given freedom than the tribal secondary school students, and they are permitted to participate in all the activities of their interest. This may make them psychologically hardy. Non-tribal secondary school students also enjoy challenge and see themselves as capable of change and expect life around them to change. Non-tribal secondary school students got better opportunities in every field than tribal secondary school students. This may also make them psychologically hardy. The study further revealed that no difference in terms of tribal female and non-tribal female secondary school students on the variable of psychological hardiness. So it can be concluded that gender, female versus female, does not affect the hardiness of tribal and non-tribal secondary school students. The results of the study also revealed that also revealed the results of the study also revealed that tribal male and non-tribal male secondary school students also differ on the variable of psychological hardiness. They also differ in all the three dimensions: commitment, control, and challenge. On all the dimensions, male non-tribal secondary school students were found to be hardy than their counterparts. The reason may be that non-tribal secondary school students get better opportunities than the tribal secondary school students. In order to increase psychological hardiness among tribal secondary uh, among tribal secondary school students, we should conduct orientation programs in schools where experts from different walks of life can be introduced to the tribal students. Lectures and discussion regarding the major problems of tribal students aroused due to psychological weakness can be held. Nowadays, counseling is getting its due significance in the schools, but still a lot is required to be done in this regard. In each and every school, a counseling corner must be set up where students can discuss their problems freely and have important directions and information from the counselor. The counselor must also be a man with adequate qualification and expertise so that he or she could have solved their problems. Once the problems of the tribal students are decreased, their psychological hardness will naturally increase. They should be given proper training for time management so that they are able to utilize the time in proper manner, leading to be better self-regulatory practices and less stress and become harder. Suggestions for further research. The present study was conducted on 600 tribal and non-tribal secondary school students. It is therefore suggested that this similar study may be conducted on a larger sample so that the results obtained may be more reliable. The present investigation was confined to Kashmir Valley only. A similar study may be conducted to other cities and districts of states. The present investigation was undertaken on tribal and non-tribal secondary school students. This study can be further extended to the college students, people, teachers, and teachers of schools and colleges. The study may be conducted by taking other variables like social skills, family environment, emotional intelligence, social maturity, and their relationship with psychological hardiness. Thank you.